Hi everybody, Lynn Roan here with your Friday update for today, April 9th. Boy, what beautiful weather we've been having, and it's amazing how the spring has treated us. We never thought that we would ever be able to see a football game out on our field because, usually there's snow, 2 or 3 feet of snow on that football field melting during the spring. But we've had great weather, and our boys are out there on the field practicing and looking forward to some competitions. And our volleyball girls are in the gym and they're doing the same, doing some practicing and looking forward to some competitions. Um, it's just so great to see kids back in the hallways, athletes back in the hallways, kids in school enjoying school, enjoying their sports, doing what kids should be doing, and it's a great feeling. So certainly a whole different scenario than last March and April, and I feel that we're moving on up. So I've got some really, really exciting news for you. Last night I announced at the board meeting that we have indeed a date for students to come back here 4 days a week, and we will be doing that beginning April 26th. I want to let you know, there's a few things I need to let you know about that. First of all, thanks to our transportation, Mr. Metcalf having some really creative thinking, we couldn't figure out there were too many students to get elementary and high school back with only 22 students on a bus. But Mr. Metcalf looked through it and looked at the sixth graders and said, if we move the sixth grade kids over to the junior senior high school bus run, we can do it. So that's what will be happening. We've spoken with the sixth grade team of teachers, and they're ready and willing to change their schedules to accommodate for our sixth graders arriving at school beginning at 7:30. And parents, I just want to give you that update. Your principals will be sending out, the principal will be sending out a letter to you letting you know all about that change. All of you will be receiving information on a postcard next week from transportation to show you exactly what time your kids will be picked up and dropped off, all that transportation information. So we actually scheduled students for 4 days of learning or 100% remote, all based on your responses to the survey that we sent out. We'd just like you to know at this point, while we're still planning and tweaking that schedule, that we won't be able to make any changes. So whatever you had indicated on the survey, we can't make any changes for that right now as of this moment. But as we get students in here and things start to move around a little bit, we may be able to make some changes for those of you who request it. So if you do want to change, please make sure you call the guidance office in the high school or the main office in the elementary school. They'll get you on a waiting list for a change. I just want to give you the heads up that there's no changes coming very soon, very quickly. The desk shields are installed, and we're ready. It does look a little surreal in the classrooms. It's not a great look, but it is a look that helps us get kids back here in classrooms all together. I do want to clarify some things. There's so many different pieces of information and a lot of misinformation going around about why we can't bring kids back. We can do it without dust shields. We should do it. Onondaga schools are doing it. I want to let you know that the CDC did change their guidelines. So the CDC says that children can return to school 3 feet apart with just a mask. We don't fall under the jurisdiction of the CDC. We fall under the jurisdiction of the New York State Department of Health. And the New York State Department of Health has not changed those guidelines, and they are now telling us, well, they have changed. They said you can return to school 3 feet apart, but you have to have a desk shield, and you also have to have students wear masks all day long. So there's a lot of misinformation about that, but that is the only way we can bring kids back. And so that's why we have the dust shields. There's misinformation about so many different schools going around. If you have questions about that, I think I have all the information from different schools. I can let you know what's really happening. I get a lot of calls that say, well, not a lot, a few, calls and say, gee, you know, Oswego's back 5 days a week with all their kids. Why can't APW do it? Or they choose another school district. I'm going to let you know, Oswego's not back 5 days a week with all their students. A lot of misinformation. Sometimes if Oswego's bringing back K1-2, which I think that's what it is, they have K1-2 there 5 days a week. They don't have K-12 there 5 days a week. So please, if you hear those things and you wonder why we haven't been able to do that, I'll let you know. I'll give you the truth. I always try to give people back I try to find out the right information and give that back to them. So please don't hesitate to give me a call or to email me. Some of the questions that I've had in regards to why are we waiting till April 26th? Why can't we just come back next week? And I have 3 very good reasons for that. The first one being that the junior senior high school level, the counseling department has to change all of those student schedules to a 4-day-a-week schedule rather than the 2-day-a-week schedule. And the reason that they have to do that is when we report to New York State Education, which I think they upload every week from our computers, we don't send handwritten reports. We don't choose the reports that are sent. They just extrapolate everything that they want from our student management system, which we call School Tool. And we have to have the correct information in there on the day we start school. So we have to get all of that information hand entered, and then the New York State gets all the data that they collect every week from us for grading and for attendance and for just student information. They take it all. So that's why we have to wait to the 26th. One of the reasons we have to wait to the 26th, because we have to get that information input into the computer. The other reason is because transportation is sending out postcards next week. We just came up with the creative idea of switching those 6th graders over, and now we're working on the bus run, getting it settled, and you'll get a postcard next week giving you information about where your child will get picked up and what time. So we couldn't exactly come back next week because of that. Also, we noticed that the first day of state testing is April 19th, and we really didn't want to bring kids in on the 19th and say, here you go, here's your test. We want to welcome them back. We want them to get used to where they haven't been for 4 days a week. Some kids are coming back that have been 100% virtual. So we thought it'd be better if we wait to the 26th. The testing window is till the end of that week, so students may be receiving a test at the end of the week we return, but not the first day we return and not the first week we return to school. Actually, that's wrong. The first week we return to school, but the end of the week. So that is what I have about opening school. I'm very excited, and I hope you are as well. Everybody's working really hard here, and we're the first school that's bringing in Oswego County that's bringing K-12 students back 4 days a week. I know that the information out there says we're not, but we are. So I've met with all the superintendents, and I can tell you that we are the first. Last night, the board approved several new programs. We looked at the survey that we put out for our community, asking you what you thought your students needed to get them ready for life after graduating from APW. You gave us great information, and we are adding new programs next year to coincide with the request that you had put on the survey. We're doing that with no increase to the budget from last year, so that's a good thing as well. We're going to have some classes in career exploration for grades 4 through 12. We're going to have some programming here about everyday life for the high school kids and the junior high school kids, like what is credit, how to keep yourself out of debt, how do you interview for a job, what different exploration for careers, what different careers are out there for you. And we're putting bringing back a STEM program to the elementary school. Elementary school students, their curriculum really concentrates on reading and math, which it should, because those are foundational skills that really need to be in the elementary so we can have success as they get older and move across the road. But there's not a lot of room for science when you're concentrated on the reading and the math. And a STEM program brings that science into each of the classrooms um, in coordination with the reading and the math. So a STEM program is, I believe, is vitally important to have in an elementary, and we'll be having that next year. We're bringing it back. A few years ago we had it, and for some reason it went away, but we are bringing it back because it's important to get that science education and that love of science and the understanding of science to our young kids. We also announced last night that we have received word that we'll be receiving some money from the federal government and New York State to really concentrate on the learning loss of students throughout this last school year, the socio-emotional needs of these students. Everybody suffered throughout the last year of our lives just being upended and everything being different. And we realize that students all across the country are going to be suffering and have learning loss. And we are going to be receiving some of that money. So we will be putting into plans for some extra people here to help students with their social emotional well-being, mental health if needed. Certainly we're going to have programs over this coming summer and after school, and actually these programs will be for maybe 3 years. So we're not going to cover learning loss in a year, but over a 3-year period we're going to be receiving some money from the state and federal government that says do some programs for these kids to try to make up for the learning loss and the social emotional stress that they have been through. So that is in the plan. And we're excited about being able to do that, and we're grateful that we have gotten some money to be able to do that. So those things are coming. I think there's just a whole lot of great things to say about a school district that can go through a pandemic and build programs for the next year and to make sure that we can have students back and give them exactly what they need. I hear a lot of people throughout business and just throughout the world. Well, the COVID happened, so that went on hold. COVID happened, so we really didn't move forward with anything. You know, I'm pleased to say that APW moved forward, and we didn't just say, so that went on hold. We took care of what we had to do for the year to get students through school and do the best we could with that. But we moved forward with what are we going to do in the future? How are we going to get kids exactly what they need? I'm really proud of that, and I hope that you are too. And that's one thing. Now I want to lead into the last thing I want to talk about, and that's social media. Now I don't read any Facebook posts from any of the APW community, but every once in a while I do hear of some Facebook posts and probably Instagram. I don't know what they all are that are going around that really aren't so kind. And I want to let you know, this is just another reminder that when you're posting that APW is terrible, all the other school districts are returning to school, but APW isn't, you don't have the right information. And sure, you're free to post anything you want to post, but it's incorrect information. So if you would like to know why other districts are returning and we weren't, give me a call and I'll let you know. And as I just told you, we're the first ones returning K-12, 4 days a week. So we're not terrible. And I hate to have your children read that on Facebook and your children hear and see what you post, and they see and hear about what other people post. And you've got a great school district here. We have staff and administration that's doing a great job to move forward, bring new programs here, do what's best for kids. Can we start again, people? Do we have to keep hearing how terrible APW is? Because we just started with a new superintendent, and I think we're doing great things. If you don't think we're doing great things, please give me a call. I would love to hear what you have to say. But I would love kids to hear that APW is a great school and we're doing things that are great for them, and to feel comfortable with coming to us and saying, hey, maybe you could do this for us. But if students think that APW is terrible, they believe it's terrible, and then they don't have any intention of coming and telling us. They just think, oh, it's terrible, that's what everybody's saying on social media, so we must be terrible. We're not terrible. and we're getting a whole lot better than we ever have been. Also, the social media posts, if you feel you should post about a particular staff member, why would you do that? Why would you post about a coach or a staff member and say how awful they are? If you have a problem with a coach, with a teacher, with a staff member, you should be calling me. You should be calling the athletic coordinator. But I would propose that you do not inflict your opinion about a coach or a staff member on social media. Number one, it's not nice. And number two, it's not nice. And it also gives students who work with that person the idea that that person's terrible. Okay? So if you have a problem, give us a call. We will certainly take care of that. And I have heard from some people saying, oh, I know how administration is there. It's always the same thing. I'm not going to bother calling administration. Please give me a call. Let's turn this around. This is a great school, and it's going to be even better in the future, but we need your help to make it better. And like I said, you're free to post anything you want on social media. I would just like you to please think about what you're posting, and is it really good for the school? And maybe we can start posting things that are great for the school and what we're doing and how happy our kids are here and actually how well they're doing and how much they're doing. So there, I get off my soapbox about social media. As always, if you would like to contact me and have any questions, my phone number is 315-625-5252, and you can reach me by email as well. I respond to every email and every phone call I get, and I'm happy to do that. If parents would like to meet with me about a complaint or even to come in and just talk, I'm always available. Let's start out on a positive note as we come back to school, and I'm happy that we're coming back, and I can't wait to see all your kids here 4 days a week. You have a great weekend. Thank you. Hi again, everyone. I realized after that very long video that I did for you that I forgot to mention one thing, so I wanted to do that, and I did not want to do that video over. It was way too long, but I did have a lot of information for you. Some of you might be wondering about when we do return 4 days a week. Will the schedule be a regular school day? Will we start at the regular time and end at the regular time? The answer to that is no. We have to continue with a shorter day, and the reason for that is because we still have students who are home working and learning virtually. So we have to give our teachers time to be able to prepare lessons for those kids who are in school and then to prepare different lessons for those kids who are home. It's double duty for our teachers, and they have been doing a great job all year, but that double duty continues. And we have to be able to release students a little bit early so we can give teachers that time to actually work on lessons. And that's also the reason why we can't return 5 days a week, because they have to prepare their lessons, grade their lessons, all kinds of work to be done. Have Zoom classes and Zoom office hours. It's the details are just kind of crazy when you're teaching 2 different ways. So we will return with a shortened schedule for both schools, and just Wednesdays are 100% virtual for everybody. And the reasons for that is because we do have the virtual and the in-person school. Once again, have a good weekend. Take it easy.